Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2021 movie titled Attack on Finland. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film opens with scenes of computer screens displaying complex codes. Soon after, we are introduced to Max Tanner, a security service officer walking towards a car. He meets with Sylvia, another agent, and they are briefed about a notorious terrorist involved in numerous fraudulent transactions. Their mission is to access the terrorist's computer, requiring them to remain in direct contact with their headquarters. Tanner and Sylvia head off for the terrorist location and successfully secure the terrorist's laptop. While extracting the laptop, they come into a terrified young girl. Tanner reassures her to be cool, and Sylvia advises her to stay still for her own protection. However, Sylvia shoots at a figure approaching them by mistake, only to realize it is a child, which shocks her. The gunfire notifies nearby militants, who attack the location and shoot indiscriminately. Forced to evacuate, they climb to the roof, descend, and keep running, reporting their findings to the headquarters. At headquarters, Marie Leclerc, the chief, questions Tanner about the laptop. Initially, he denies finding it, infuriating Marie. When they return to the office, she chastises Sylvia for shooting an innocent child and warns her about the serious implications. Tanner then explains that he recovered the laptop and discovered important information. On the terrorist's laptop, he discovers considerable proof of money laundering operations, as well as several ads designed to promote these unlawful actions. Marie, on the other hand, reveals that they will be unable to act immediately because the terrorist has reported his son's death, complicating their situation. She informs him that he will be sent to Finland and suspends Sylvia from duty. Moving on to Finland, undercover spy Vesa pays a visit to his father in jail, a former military man who is now suspicious of his son due to his covert activities. Vesa, troubled by his father's plight, comes home and finds a cryptic message on his computer summoning him to a meeting. Vesa meets Anya, a lawyer who offers him help despite his desperate financial situation and desire to release his father. She reveals that she can assist with his father's case, which is rife with criminal allegations. The family's demise began with his father's arrest, which resulted in societal disgrace, and the murders of Vesa's brother, which added to his sadness. Meanwhile, Sylvia, still upset about her suspension, reaches out to Tanner, but their talk is brief. While Anya transports Vesa to a hideout, 3 accomplices await. They explain their plans, and Vesa agrees to join them. The narrative turns to Finland's president, who is celebrating Independence Day. Vesa and his new pals intend to capture the president during the festivities. They travel to Helsinki, where the presidential palace is packed with dignitaries, including French Prime Minister, Jean Moore, and his personal bodyguard, Sylvia. Sylvia escorts Jean Morel to his room. Meanwhile, Anya keeps a close eye on the palace and oversees Vesa's squad. Risa, disguised as a server, moves near the president. Vesa's team, disguised as police officers, is waiting outside. Anya warns them that they have 17 minutes before they act. Inside, a lively dance is going on. Sylvia is dancing alongside Morel. Anya seizes the chance to disable the security cameras and cut the electricity, alerting Risa to approach the president. She draws her gun on him, causing Vesa's crew to open fire and order everyone to the ground. Wearing gas masks to cover their identities, the crew secures the area. As word of the attack spreads, Tanner becomes aware of the situation and knows that something big is taking place. He plans to intervene. Inside, Vesa orders everyone to stay put, threatening that any disruption will result in swift bloodshed. With Anya's help, they disable all security systems and take complete control of the building. Outside, police and rescue crews gather. Tanner arrives and receives a call from the intelligence team, asking him to negotiate with the terrorists. He goes to the van stationed outside the palace to meet the team, who tell him that the terrorists have not made contact and that the number of captives is unknown. Meanwhile, Marie receives shocking news that the president is among the hostages. Inside, Vesa evaluates Morel, realizing that he is not an average individual. Vesa decides to release the other hostages because he does not want to cause any unnecessary harm. When questioned about Sylvia, Morel doesn't reveal that she is his bodyguard but rather his date for the day. Vesa decides to keep her alive as well as they could need her later. Vesa decides to contact Tanner, who begins negotiations, insisting on the release of all hostages, notably the hostesses. The hostages are eventually permitted to leave, but the president and Morel are still imprisoned in separate rooms. Vesa reassures Tanner that all hostages are safe, allaying his initial anxieties. He communicates his desires through Anya. First, they must release his father. Second, he asks for a plane, and third, he insists on having a Bitcoin transaction worth $100 million. Tanner demands assurances on the president's and Morell's safety before moving forward. After checking their safety, he agrees to Vesa's demands. Snipers, positioned surrounding the structure, are ready to intervene at the first indication of trouble. Inside, hostages are being dressed in jumpsuits for safe escape. Vesa confronts the president about actions that cost lives, expressing his outrage at the death of his family members and the lack of recognition for their contributions. The president justifies his policies, emphasizing the broader European consequences and the joint responsibility that comes with them. He makes a personal connection, saying that his own mother was among those who died, emphasizing his emotional involvement in the situation. With the parameters met, a helicopter comes. Tanner instructs Vesa to begin releasing the captives one at a time after the money has been confirmed as transferred. Vesa then insists on examining his father for bombs or listening devices, but discovers nothing unusual. Meanwhile, all of the hostages are dressed similarly to Vesa's team. The hostages, including Vesa's father, get into the chopper. Vesa is relieved to see his father, yet he is unhappy with the scenario and criticizes the attitude. Anya contacts Vesa's squad and delivers a stunning new directive: they must now assassinate the president. This revelation astounded everyone. As tensions rise, police troops enter the palace, passing through the basement, where Risa has infiltrated with her own operatives. Gunfire erupts, worsening the situation. Headquarters attempts to contact Tanner, but discovers he has also entered the palace. He joins his Delta squad and spreads out to secure the area. However, there is no evidence of Vesa or his colleagues anywhere within. As they emerge, ignorant that Vesa has already left, they see a car and realize Vesa has escaped through a tunnel. He pursues in his own vehicle. The car ultimately drives into a parking area, where the occupants transfer vehicles, all under Tanner's watchful eye. Tanner resumed pursuit, only for the occupants to realize he was following them. The lead automobile accelerates, causing a dramatic accident in which it overturns. Tanner discovers only the driver, who he shoots after realizing Vesa has escaped. Meanwhile, Vesa and his squad prepare to board a plane which is surrounded by security officers. During the turmoil, Sylvia tackles one of the goons and shoots him in the leg. However, she is apprehended and forced into the plane. One of the hostages is suddenly shot as the rest escape into the plane and leave. Upon investigation, the security discover the president's lifeless body, which leaves them stunned. Anya contacts Vesa to certify the mission's success, allowing him to flee the country. However, the headquarters learns about their escape plan. Vesa and his father board the plane, only to face resistance from a police officer inside. A brawl breaks out, and a stray bullet fatally shoots Vesa's father in the midst of the chaos. In the following pandemonium, the crew manages to eliminate their opponents and make their escape. Tanner becomes extremely nervous after crossing the border into Finland and discovering their location. He phones Marie, who informs him that they have tracked the plane to an abandoned facility over which Belarusian authorities have no control. He decides to join the operation. Meanwhile, Vesa bribes military officers for guns and a vehicle as word spreads of the Finnish president's killing, plunging the country into turmoil. Tanner encounters Jonesy and Sinclair, Belarusian mercenaries who promise to help him get to the factory. Vesa proceeds to meet up with their top boss, Leonid Titov. Their meeting becomes hostile, leading in a battle that leaves only Vesa, Sylvia and Morell alive, whom they kidnap. Marie, who is monitoring the scene, informs Tanner about the violence. Leonid Titov, aware of Sylvia's broad European operations, sees Morell as key to his goals. He coerces Morell into giving a speech in Russian military dress in order to impact global image. Meanwhile, Tanner witnesses Vesa being led as a hostage to a secure chamber. Tanner follows the crew inside the complex, exchanging gunfire. Amidst the pandemonium, a man approaches Tanner, ready to strike, but Vesa steps in, saving Tanner's life just in time. Meanwhile, Leonid finds Sylvia's involvement in the conspiracy against his son, which enrages him. He confronts her and tries to kill her, but Sylvia quickly disarms him, turning the tables with lethal precision. Vesa commandeers a vehicle and races for the border, with Tanner joining him on the roof. Sylvia, now accompanied by Morell, escapes capture. Leonid gathers his forces and dispatches them to track down Sylvia and Morell. Sylvia anticipates the chase and orders a government airstrike, backed up by a helicopter, to cover their escape. The chopper arrives, intending to retrieve Sylvia and the others, but they struggle to get there during the firefight. Tanner offers cover fire, allowing them to safely board the chopper. Tanner continues to fire on his pursuers while running to the helicopter to flee. The chopper lifts off, temporarily subduing their attackers, leaving Tanner behind on Marie's command. The attackers plan to seek vengeance against Tanner, who is now desperate to get an escape route. Jonesy and Sinclair intervene, giving cover fire and allowing Tanner to reach them safely, affording a brief respite to the chaotic situation. After some time, Leonid Titov sits down for a lunch with Anya, declaring his desire to track down and eliminate Vesa for his betrayal. He feels Vesa divulged critical information that jeopardized their activities. Surprisingly, as Anya leaves, she quickly ends Leonid's life with a deadly stab to the neck, avenging her own frustrations. She then turns her focus to Morel and administers a lethal injection before departing. On a remote island, she meets Vesa and gives him a new name and passport, allowing him to start afresh. Meanwhile, Marie meets with Tanner, who reveals a stunning fact: the conspiracy involves more than their group. It was a painstakingly planned plot, with numerous parties working together to protect Finland's future interests. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.